to the Bodkins Show.
Welcome to the Bodkins Show. I am that dude, Bodkins. Hey, appreciate y'all. Before we get started, we got to talk a little housekeeping items. First, last Saturday, I was on the Let's Talk Sports podcast, so make sure you check that out. The big things, they got the website, they got the Facebook page. Dan has been doing huge things, so follow him on Twitter as well. Hit the subscribe button on there, YouTube as well. Let's Talk Sports. I was on there Saturday, and we just talked a little bit of variety of things. Also, last night I was on the Sports Buffoons, so make sure you're following them on their YouTube, Twitter as well. They're also live on Twitch if you got the Twitch. So get on there, hit the old subscribe button on their stuff. Last night we had a little NBA show, so make sure you check out all of their stuff as well. I'll be joining on the Sports Buffoons every Monday. So I'll be on the Sports Buffoons every Monday, and then we'll always have the weekly wrap-up show Tuesday. And then we got to talk about this weekend. Big UFC 275. So we're going to do 2 live shows with Kenny and Craig coming back to join me. If you caught them on the first episode, the first ever live episode, check that out again. But we'll be doing 2 shows Saturday morning, probably 6:37 o'clock in the morning to preview UFC 275. We'll be giving out we'll be breaking down all the fights on the main card. We'll be picking our picks. We'll give you our locks of the card and our dogs of the card. So you're not gonna want to miss that. And then Sunday night, again about 9 o'clock Central Time, we'll be doing our UFC 275 post show, and that'll be coming live to you as well. 9 o'clock Central again, and then we'll break down each of the fights, how they went, clown each other for our awful picks, and we'll play a little matchmaker for the winners and losers going forward on UFC 275. Who should fight who and who should go where. So we got 2 big shows coming up this weekend. That's how it'll be every UFC pay-per-view, hopefully, going forward. But this is our first one. So make sure you join us in the YouTube comment section this Saturday and Sunday. So let's jump into it. What has been going on this week? Well, let's jump into it. We always start with the NFL. Of course, that's what we're going to go right back to this week. Cha-ching, 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 beep, 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 beep. That's the Rams backing up the Brinks truck. Holy smokes, Aaron Donald got paid. My man got $65 million guaranteed. That's right, Aaron Donald got $65 million guaranteed. $95 million over the next 3 years. Now, they didn't give him a contract extension. My man said, I don't want to play any longer, probably. I just want to get paid. And the man did that. He got huge money, huge deal. So he just upped his salary. Now has become the highest paid, non-paid quarterback in league history. That's probably what he deserves. He's the greatest defensive lineman of all time in my mind, and arguably the greatest defender of all time. I mean, there's people that are going to tell you Lawrence Taylor, LT. I caught the end of LT's career. Remember, I was born in 87. I'm only 35, folks, so LT was a long time ago. But I've watched Aaron Donald since he joined the league, and he's done it in such a short matter. And he is a man amongst boys out there, and then some. So he deserves it. I mean, you can debate whether he's the greatest defensive player all the time, but it's kind of back and forth between him and LT, but definitely the greatest defensive lineman of all time. The guy could have played in any era, any time, any place, and been great. Also, a lot of OTAs and started mandatory OTAs. Some guys not showing up, some guys showing up. 49ers, Jimmy G, they told him, hey, you don't need to come. Jimmy G is still sitting at home. He's got some surgery, plus obviously all the trade talk. Looks like they're still focused on Trey Lance being their guy going forward. But what happens to Jimmy G. We'll see. He's still rehabbing. They told him you don't have to come to OTAs. That's kind of a, big deal. But the big deal for the 49ers showing up was Deebo Samuel showing up. Remember, he said he was going to sit out. He demanded a trade. Now it looks like they've mended the fences there. Looks like Deebo showing up to OTAs. They've kind of told him, hey, don't worry, you're not going to have to play much running back. You will play, just a few trick plays here and there, but not as many carries. Because, Deebo had a huge gripe. Like, he's playing dual roles. He wants to get dual money, so we can all understand that. Plus, he's still playing on his rookie deal. But he watched A.J. Brown get a huge deal, so he also wanted a huge deal. But that'll have to wait for Deebo. I do think eventually the 49ers will pay that man his money. But, he'll be at OTAs. Another guy, speaking of receivers still playing on the rookie deal, DK Metcalf is now sitting out of mandatory OTAs. He didn't show up, said he's still waiting to get paid. If I'm DK, do you want to be a long-term deal with the Seahawks? You saw Russ leave. Who the hell is your quarterback? You're going to trust in Geno Smith and Drew Lock? Good luck. Good luck, TK. Good luck. Your best bet is just to show up, ride out your contract, and maybe get paid in the offseason. Now, I know they could franchise tag him and do all types of other shit, but Geno Smith and Drew Lock are throwing me the ball. Then you probably either need to get paid now, or you just need to ride it out and then just say, hey, look who I had throwing me the goddamn football. You know who else also showed up OTAs? Aaron fucking Rodgers. That's who showed up at OTAs, y'all. So, So all you haters out there saying Aaron this, Aaron that, my boy Aaron Rodgers showed up just like he always has just like he normally does at OTAs. He's going to do his stuff. He's do a little 7-7, get with the young receiving core and his couple new receivers. Get ready to go. All right. So that's who those are kind of all the major cases of people not showing up and this and that. Looks like so that kind of wraps up our NFL wrap up for the week. The couple more OTA teams will be showing up, so mandatory stuff will be happening this coming week. So we'll see who's going to show up and not show up, and who might be getting some new deals. Also, not showing up, I mentioned Dalton Schultz of the Cowboys. He was there and said he dipped out. I don't think contracts extensions was going too well with him, so he said, "I'm out of here until we can work out a deal." He's on the franchise tag, wants some more money, wants a long-term deal. Every player hates playing on the franchise tag. So I was surprised when the CBA happened that they continued the franchise tag, because that was something they wanted to get rid of, but keeping it. And Dalton Schultz is playing on it until he gets a deal done or not. So we don't know. That kind of wraps that up. Let's talk a little we got to talk a little golf. Tiger Woods real quick. He is out of the U.S. Open, says his body needs some time. Hey, Tiger, take all the time in the world. We want to see you come back, see you play well. We all get it. Phil Mickelson is now leaving the PGA and is going to play in the Saudi group. It's a weird situation there because he's going to get paid a shit ton in Saudi. But now the PGA is saying, hey, now if you're playing over there, you can't play with here. But that doesn't include the majors. The majors have their own thing. And this is breaking it down in dummy terms. Like, Phil's qualified to play in all the majors. So he still might be able to play in the majors and then still go play in this Saudi league and make a hell of a lot of money, because Phil needs it because he's got a huge gambling fucking problems. So that kind of sums up the golf real quick. And then also we got to talk some baseball here. On Friday, Joe Girardi of the Phillies got fired due to they were in like a huge slump, had lost like 12 in a row, 10 in a row or something like that. And they were like at one time in first place, and then now we're like pretty much out of it due to and if you check my tweets, check my Twitter, I call it on Sunday. I said, a Joe got fired on Friday. Another Joe will be fired soon. Well, guess what? Today, unfortunately, Joe Maddon fired of the Angels. They had a 12-game losing streak and had lost 15 out of the last 18 games. Joe Maddon done in his second year, couldn't even finish 2+ years in California. So both Joes go. both Joes are gone. And I'm not saying that it's either one of their faults all the time. I mean, Girardi's been there this was his third year, and team just didn't have it. I did pick both of them teams to win their divisions, and I was dead wrong. I'll admit when I'm wrong, folks. I'll admit when I'm wrong. You know why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Because you hear about it when I'm right. So I might as well tell you, hey, I had it wrong, and I had those two wrong. Joe Madden wasn't getting no favors by his star players either. I mean, Mike Trout, this like 12-game losing streak is batting $110 or something like that. Like, I mean, he's not even barely batting 200, and you can't have that. You're the allegedly best player in all of baseball is Mike Trout, and he can't be going a streak like that. And if he is going a cold streak like that, guys got to be helping him out, and that just wasn't happening. So the Angels said, "See you later, Joe Madden." It'll be interesting if either one of those two guys fall on their feet. Both of them have won World Series. Remember Joe Madden? Obviously, I always remember Joe Madden, who's dear to my heart. Helped the Cubs win the World Series in 2016. Joe Girardi won a World Series in 2009 with the Yankees. So both of those guys will be interesting to see if they ever get another job. Madden's older, been there a long time, been around a long time. It'll be interesting, especially with the Angels, because he was always there before, was Mike Scioscia's like number 2 guy before he went to Tampa Bay, and then from Tampa to the Cubs and everything else. So it was kind of odd that they did fire him so quickly. But when you have a high payrolls as the Angels and the Phillies do, the Phillies had the fourth highest payroll, and the Angels are right up there as well. Owners aren't going to take it too long. You know, I mean, they're forking out all that money. They need to see results. And the first month of the season looked well, and now the second month did not look so well for both those teams. Now we're almost 2.5 months into the baseball year. 2 managers fired, season's down the shitter. Those things will happen. I mean, why not? I don't know. Maybe you should have let them ride it out. Maybe not. Maybe it just ain't working. I mean, if you're going to fire him in the offseason, might as well fire him now. Maybe you can get a good look at the intern, see if that's going to be somebody you want to hire later. I mean, it's worked in the past. A couple years ago, the Cardinals fired Mike Matheny, and Mike Schilt took over, and they went to the playoffs. So maybe that could happen to one of these two teams. They definitely got the talent on paper, but talent don't mean shit on paper if you can't prove it on the field. All right, so let's talk a little NBA. Now, if you missed it, we did talk a lot about this stuff on the Sports Buffoon, so make sure, again, we went into a lot of detail. But series is tied 1-1, Boston and Golden State. I still feel confident in Golden State winning in 6. Still love Steph Curry as my NBA Finals MVP. I've said that. Now, here's the problem. Will the real Klay Thompson please stand up? Will the real Klay Thompson please stand up? Because you haven't shown up. That's right. Klay is nowhere to been found in these first 2 games. I mean, he's if I told you Klay Thompson only made 4 3-pointers in 2 games, you would probably have said you're crazy. He must have got hurt or something. No, he's still out there, still playing, and has not just hasn't done anything. Steph has been cooking, y'all. Steph is cooking. The Chef Curry is cooking. Now he just needs some more ingredients to help him out to finish the meal, to finish the soup, whatever Chef Curry's cooking there. But he hasn't got much. Jordan Poole helped in with 17 in game 2. Draymond, he doesn't have to score, but damn near almost got kicked out in game 2 trying to de-pants a guy. But also the Golden State, I feel like, could be up 2-0 had they just shown up in the fourth quarter in game 1. Remember, they had 11-point game lead in game 1. Going into the fourth, Boston just blew them out. And then where has Boston been at in the third quarter? Because in game 1 and game 2, they were just nowhere to be found in that third quarter. Jason Tatum's got to start balling out in the third quarter. Like, that's when he's got to realize, I got to take over. Jaylen Brown played is playing a hell of a Robin. I gave him the Scottie Pippen Award on Let's Talk Sports, new award I'm giving out to the sidekick of the second best team when you're the second best player on the team. So I gave him the Scottie Pippen Award, and he didn't have the greatest game in game 2 either, but I mean, Boston was supposed to have this great defense, and they've had it, but I just think that it's too many minutes, too much right now. They've went through the gauntlet, and the Warriors are one bad quarter away from being up 2-0. Boston has not lost back-to-back games, so we'll see if that happens in Game 3 tomorrow night. But I still like Golden State in 6 here, folks. I think Golden State probably wins Game 3. And then I think Boston probably wins Game 4. And then it's Game 5 and 6, Golden State. Mark it down. Could be wrong, and I'll tell you if I'm wrong, if I'm not. That kind of sums up. Oh, one more thing on the old NBA. Quinn Snyder, he said deuces to Utah. I think what happened there was I think the owner said, hey, Quinn, we're going to either blow this thing. Two thoughts on the Quinn Snyder leaving. He probably went there and said, hey, Quinn, we're going to blow – the owner probably said, we're going to blow this thing up. We're going to trade Rudy Gobert. We're going to trade Donovan Mitchell. And Quinn said, the fuck, I am not sticking around for no rebuild. I can sit out a year, and then I'll catch a team that's probably going to fire their coach that's real close to making the playoffs and not like about 5 years away like Utah will be if they trade both of those guys. Or they said, hey, we have got to trade either Rudy or Donovan. We got to mix some things up. And he either said, I want either A, Donovan, or B, Rudy. And the owner said, no, I want this guy. And he said, all right, well, if that's the route you're going to go, I'm going to skip town. So I think that was kind of my theories on why Quinn left. I think the Jazz should trade both of them, acquire as many assets and picks as you can for both of them. You're going to get more of a haul for Donovan Mitchell because he's so young than you are for Rudy Gobert, but trade both of them, start from scratch. The Mormons are going to be pretty pissed off in Utah for the next few years. But, hey, acquire as much talent and picks you can. Try to be like the Thunder, your small market team, and maybe you'll hit on some of those picks and get another group to make another run. But they're just too old. Most of those guys are too old outside of Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan's showed that he struggles on defense this year. So the Jazz looking to maybe possibly blow that thing up. That does sum it up. I got to back up real quick because we got to talk about something here in the NFL. The Deshaun Watson case here, 2 more girls. Now he's had 24 girls come out on civil suits and said that he has tried to do some things to them while they were giving him massages. Now, I was reading a thing today. The New York Times did their own investigation. They are saying over 67 women met with Deshaun in the last 17 months. 67 women in the last 17 months, and that the Texans, when he was at Houston, would give him NDAs to sign these women. Now, this is what I think happened. I believe that Deshaun's trying to get hanky-pankies and these massages. I mean, like, why so many and why so much? But who knows? That's a lot of women, a lot of massages, Deshaun. Ugh. Anyway, just find 1 or 2, but maybe, he just likes to mix it up. I'm not making light of anything. No jokes about it. I do think Deshaun did it, but here's the thing. I think that the Texans were providing these NDAs, and I think they knew a lot about a lot of it. Then Deshaun said, hey, I want to get traded. I need to get out of here. And then the Texans took a lot of those NDAs away, told a lot of those girls that signed those NDAs, those ain't real. It's okay. And now they're all coming to light. And what does Cleveland do if Deshaun can't play or does get suspended? Let's just say he gets suspended for a year. I mean, I guess you just ride out Jacoby Brissett because you can't play. They're not going to go back to Baker. Baker's not going to go back to them. It'll be interesting to see where Baker does land up. I still think maybe Carolina or someplace like that would be a good fit for him or Jimmy G that we talked about a little bit a while ago. But I also feel like that there was a backhand deal between Deshaun and the NFL. You sit out next year. We won't suspend you or put you on the list. You just hold out, and then you can play this year. But it'll be interesting. They're talking about I was watching an interview today. They were saying that expect mid-July, the suspension for Deshaun Watson to come down and see what happens. So that's when the NFL will come out and say something. Plenty of time until the season starts to figure all that out. One last thing, let's talk. UFC before we get out of here. We're not going to break down UFC 275 because, again, that we'll be doing that Saturday and Sunday. But we got to talk about last weekend's fight. Volkov beats Rosie. Now, Rosie was pissed because he felt Herb Dean stopped him, but I didn't really think it was that bad of a stoppage. I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen Herb Dean do worse. Volkov got him, and I mean, Rosie was kind of put in a position, and he didn't really start peeling away until the fight was stopped. I think Rosie should probably just thank for Herb Dean, say, "Hey man, you got me out of there." Saved probably, couple fights on his career. So now what happens to both these guys? I'm not too sure. Rosie, I think he needs to just take some lesser talent, build his name back up, fight some guys, and get on a run here. Which getting on a run in the heavyweight division is probably one of the hardest things to do. Volkov is in a sticky situation to me because he's ranked like 5 or 6, and everybody ahead of him he has lost to. So who does he fight? Who's next for Volkov? It'd be a lot of rematches. I think the rematch that should happen is Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis does fight in a few months, and fights like an unranked guy, or maybe somebody in like the bottom 10. Derek, let him fight Derek Lewis. Because, that they had fought, it was a few years ago. Remember, that's the whole, we USA in this whole My Balls Was Hot interview that really kind of put Derek Lewis on the map and made him a huge, huge star after that. But I like that fight. That rematch, I think, would work better for Volkov because he was winning that fight until he got knocked out. That's just something you have to do with Derek Lewis. And that's pretty much it. That kind of sums it up for this week. Nice little phone call we had in the middle of that. It happens, folks. Anyway, again, check us out this Saturday, Sunday for pre-post UFC 275 with Kenny and Craig. Check out the Sports Buffoons. Also, check out this past Sunday's episode. I had Tanner D of the Sports Buffoons on. We talked Chiefs, Packers, Royals, a little bit of mixed bag of everything, and talk about how they got started and what led to the Sports Buffoons and all that type of stuff. So thanks again for joining, folks. Make sure you click the subscribe button and the share button, because if you get 3 friends to subscribe and they share, and they get 3 friends to subscribe and share, and then they get 3 friends to subscribe and share, and then they get 3 friends to subscribe and share, well, then we're growing. We're growing. And you guys all been part of it since day one. So really appreciate it. It's been fun. I will catch you guys on Saturday morning with Kenny and Craig on the pre-show, our first ever pre-show of UFC 275. We'll be talking about all the fights and giving our predictions. So that'll be a good time. We'll see you next week. Again, we'll always be here every Tuesday breaking down all the weekly events to cut you caught up in case you're just at a barbecue and you need some shit to talk about. You're like, well, I'll listen to this guy Bodkins. This is what he says. So, all right. Hey, catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.